How do you feel if you are an English major student and an English teacher, but you can't speak English well? This is a story about learning English speaking from being laughed and blamed. When I was a primary school student, I found English very difficult. I still remember I had to learn a lot of grammar rules in the English lessons at that time. But the teachers didn't give us many chances to pronounce words and speak. They just read the passages once and asked us to use Chinese words with similar sounds to memorize the English pronunciation. I never read aloud in front of the whole class, and I seldom speak English. When I became a Form 1 student, I needed to learn all the subjects in English, but I still thought English was the most difficult subject. I remembered my Form 1 English teacher was not nice. She usually asked weaker students to stand up and read aloud. Of course, I was a weaker student. I was always asked to do it, but I didn't know how to read. Then she would blame me in front of the whole class. I felt very upset. At secondary 4 and 5, I was basically able to write English without many errors, but I still couldn't speak. Once, when I was leaving the school with a classmate, we met a maths teacher. She asked me if I did any revision at home. I said I was learning the exam skill, but at that time I didn't know how to pronounce the word skill, and I said skin. My teachers and my classmates laughed at me for more than a minute, but they didn't tell me what was wrong, and they didn't tell me the correct pronunciation. I felt very frustrated and embarrassed. This was the first time I realized I might have some difficulties in speaking. At secondary 6 and 7, my class teacher was a native speaker. I was too shy to speak to her. On the Parents' Day, when I asked her how I could improve my English, she said, "Listen more and speak more." I felt it was too far away from me. At that time, there weren't many English programs that were tailor-made for students. I couldn't understand any words in the English programs. I thought her suggestion didn't work. At that time, I had a strange belief that if I read more, I would learn how to speak, and there was not need to have real English communication with others. So I spent a lot of time during reading comprehension instead of listen more and speak more. After that, I didn't get a good result in the popular exam. I decided to self-study and repeat. I realized if I needed to improve my English proficiency, I had to study it from a lower level. I realized learning English is different from learning other subjects. I had to revise it every day and accumulate the knowledge. After 1 year of learning, my English got improved. Surprisingly, I got an A in Chinese oral exam, and this was the first time I realized my speaking problem should not be an inborn nature, and I got the chance to study linguistics at CUHK. At CU, most of my classmates were from famous schools, and their English proficiency was very good. I became the worst again. I tried to implement all the English presentations in order to keep a high GPA and keep it distant from the hell. Luckily, at that time, the course of phonetics and phonology was not compulsory, and I didn't need to take this course. Once, I was having a party with my classmates, and we were talking about writing blogs. I didn't know how to read the word Sanger, and I said Saiger. My classmates, again, laughed to death, but they didn't tell me the correct pronunciation. I always thought my speaking was more inferior to them. I always thought I couldn't speak, even though actually I could perform better. It's just like having a scar in my heart that never disappears. After graduation, I got the chance to become an English teacher.